I've been using the iPhone 17 Pro Max for a little more than 2 weeks now, and yeah, this is arguably the best iPhone Apple's ever made, but it's definitely not perfect. In full disclosure, I am primarily an Android user and my primary phone is always an Android phone. So I'm coming at this review with potentially a different perspective from other tech YouTubers. With that said, this year we get a brand new aluminum body, a bigger battery with faster charging, a legit selfie upgrade, a new 4x telephoto, and iOS 26 with the shiny new liquid glass look. But is it actually the iPhone that can convince you to upgrade this year? Let's kick it off with the design and build quality. Apple went full aluminum unibody on the Pros this year, and I have some mixed feelings. In the hand, the 17 Pro Max feels balanced and comfy at 233 grams, and it's just a little bit thicker than last year's model. The matte frame softly ramps up into a full-width camera plateau and then a separate glass window over the MagSafe coil. I don't think it looks bad, but there's a lot going on, and I don't know, I start getting Nothing Phone 3 vibes. I also really don't like that Apple moved away from the titanium on their Pro models. For the price we are paying, aluminum just simply feels cheaper and is significantly less durable than titanium. I consistently mention this in my Android phone reviews that have aluminum frames. I have yet to notice any damage on my device, but if you look online, you will quickly find many people who have paint chipping from the phone. To be fair though to Apple, Samsung has been seeing similar issues on the Z Fold 7, but regardless, it's not a good sign for long-term durability. But there are a few positives to this, which we're going to get into. In addition to that, many have reported having significant damage on the frame for minor falls that you just don't see with titanium. Have you ever noticed that all Pro models have had very dull and pale color options? Titanium resists chemical bondings with dyes because its oxide layer is too stable and non-porous. That's why you can't get bright and durable baked-in colors like you can with aluminum. Which brings us to this year's coolest color ever, Cosmic Orange. I mean, just look at it. This color just looks incredible. You also have deep blue as an option, which I was so close to picking because blue is my favorite color, and silver, which honestly looks super clean. I think Apple nailed it with the colors this year. I simply can't get over how good this orange looks. Also, you get the same IP68 dust and water resistance rating as last year, which still works great if you take an accidental swim with your phone. All in all, I love the new design, regardless of it being a little bit of a different approach from Apple. I am only concerned about the long-term durability of the aluminum and using it caseless. Other than that, I think it was a good move. And if you disagree with me, wait until we get to the performance section of this review because aluminum frames have a benefit. This video is sponsored by MagBack. MagBack's Elite case for the iPhone 17 Pro Max is easily one of the most versatile cases I've ever tested. The first thing you'll notice, ridiculously strong magnets that let you stick your phone to almost any magnetic surface in any orientation without worrying about it sliding or falling off. For the protection, it's built like a tank, drop rated to 6 feet plus, reinforced bezels around the display and camera, grippy sides, microfiber inside, and impact absorbing corners. There's a built-in kickstand for quick hands-free use, plus a finger loop that folds flat when you don't need it. My personal favorite, the pinky rest, a little cushion that makes long scrolling way more comfortable. In the box, you'll find a tempered glass screen protector, and you can also get customizable color accents and the MagStick mount so you can attach your phone to any non-magnetic spot. If you're looking for a case that's tough, functional, and loaded with thoughtful extras, this one checks every box. Use the discount code 15legends and the link in the description and pinned comment down below to get 15% off your next purchase. Let's take a look at the absolute beautiful display. You get a 6.9-inch LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED 120Hz adaptive refresh rate, HDR10, Dolby Vision, 1000 nits during normal use, 1600 nits HDR peak, and 3000 nits of peak brightness outdoors. This phone looks terrific in my bright Florida sun, and I have zero issues using this outside. Bezels are super slim, and I know some of you might dislike this video after this comment, but I have never liked the dynamic island on my screen, especially when viewing content. Let's try and keep it unbiased. I think we can all admit that if Apple could have everything under the display while keeping the same camera and Face ID quality and accuracy, they would have already done it. Now, they are very clever with all the cool tricks and functionality that they have built into the dynamic island to make it a useful tool, but let's call it like it is. It's a software solution, albeit a good one, to something that they haven't figured out how to get under the display. But with that mini rant over, this display is just incredible. Colors are bright and vibrant, and it's impossible to deny how great the quality is when doing anything on your phone. Now, for something that I simply cannot complain about, let's talk about the battery and charging. The 16 Pro Max battery was outstanding and was simply the best battery in an iPhone since they released the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which was insane when it came out. The 17 Pro Max is even better than the 16 Pro Max, and it has a larger battery going from 4,685 mAh to 5,088 mAh. But if you get the version with a physical SIM slot, you only get 4,823 mAh. That is a legitimate upgrade, and I was surprised Apple increased it because let's face it, no one was complaining about the 16 Pro Max's battery life. I'm easily getting between 11 and 13 hours of screen on time on average, and I'm not even trying to conserve battery. For many people out there who don't use their phone much, this could easily be a 2-day phone for you. That is awesome, and I love to see it. And apart from that, charging was improved to get you 40 watts of sustained cable charging, which results in 50% in 20 minutes. Now, you have to buy that charging block separately for $40, so that part is lame, and you get 25 watts wireless Qi2, which works just as well as last year's model. So while this still won't compete with my OnePlus 13, I have to give it to Apple. They have hit a point where the battery is nearly perfect, and charging speeds both wired and wireless are competitive to something like the S25 Ultra. Now, speaking of Android comparisons, I have been getting a lot of comments about how the Pixel 10 Pro XL speakers sound next to the latest iPhone, since Google made some upgrades in that department. Well, how does the 17 Pro Max hold up to Google's latest flagship? And just for the heck of it, how about the haptic feedback? How does it compare to the Pixel 10 Pro XL? And for the performance, it's an iPhone. It's the classic Ferrari stuck with a governor stuck at 40 miles per hour. You get the latest A19 Pro 3nm chip, 12GB of RAM, a base storage of 256GB for both the regular Pro and Pro Max. Google, take some freaking notes please. And you can max this out at 2TB if you really want to, but who's actually doing this? And if you're into streaming games like I am, you get Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6.0, which makes streaming through things like Xbox Game Pass seamless and very enjoyable, though not at $30 a month Xbox. CPU gains are meaningful and the GPU is terrific as well. And getting to what I was mentioning before about the aluminum frame, thermals are terrific. I never experienced any hotspots or overheating even when playing games for long periods of time. I absolutely love this video from Space Design Warehouse. Go check it out if you haven't. The dude has an awesome channel and he has the clearest explanation of the benefit of aluminum over titanium that I have seen so far. In his video, he demonstrates how heat travels through aluminum much faster and spreads out, while titanium acts more like an insulator containing the heat at the source. Something that I didn't know that I learned from his video is that aluminum is 10 times better at shedding heat than titanium. So while the move away from titanium could be seen as Apple cutting costs, and I admit, That was my first thought. I mean, I am primarily an Android YouTuber and user, but this year Apple actually chose function over form. So while the 17 Pro Max isn't winning any beauty awards in my opinion, if you truly are a gaming champion, especially mobile gaming, this is the phone to buy, period. And getting to even more good things about the phone, let's check out the camera setup. For the rear, you get a 48 megapixel main camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, a new 48 megapixel 4x telephoto, and how could I forget the new 18 megapixel multi-aspect selfie camera. Using the main camera, photos look incredible and consistent, which is very important. I know that every time I take this phone out that I am going to get the photo that I was expecting. Dynamic range is fantastic, and while photos look less vibrant and punchy than my Pixel devices, I have to say that this is the most color accurate camera that I have ever used on a phone. Everything is exactly how I see it with my own eyes. Outdoors with good lighting or indoors taking a few photos, you will not be disappointed with the main camera this year. Oh, and portrait photos look great as always. It's simply a pleasure to use. For the telephoto, the new 4x looks great, but I think I still prefer a 5x telephoto. Even the 8x zoom is not nearly as good as I was expecting, but it still looks good enough. And for the ultra-wide, everything is nice and consistent, just like we saw with the 16 Pro Max. Colors look great, dynamic range is better than average, and the macro photos that you can get look awesome. And something that I always like to include is night mode shots from all cameras. Look at these before and after photos where the 17 Pro Max transforms something that is completely useless into something that's actually usable. And for that selfie cam, the 18 megapixel multi-aspect sensor is absolutely incredible. It allows you to take a landscape selfie, and that is something I never knew that I needed in my life. Seriously, what a cool feature. Photos look great, and the dual capture video feature that now allows you to capture video from the front and the rear camera at the same time is another great feature. And speaking of video, you get easily the best video quality in the entire industry, day or night, all cameras. It's clean, stabilized, color accurate, and consistent every single time. And for the software, my phone is rocking iOS 26 Liquid Glass, and it's a huge visual overhaul compared to the prior iOS iterations. Just look at this home screen. It looks like something I would create with a third-party launcher on my Android device. Now, some people don't like it, but I think it looks pretty good. I prefer to use the dark theme though. I think it looks cleaner than the clear glass look. But the overall look of the control center and even the messages app look great. I really like how you can customize the background and chats, and even the ability to create quick polls make family dinner night way easier to plan. For the camera app, I am not a fan of how they designed it. I personally like having all my settings available and options always visible, but one thing I love is spatial scene. Holy cow, this feature is freaking cool. It uses the depth of the image and gives it a 3D effect. You can even add this to the lock screen, which gives the boring lock screen a fresh of breath air. Also, you have live translation, which is something Android manufacturers have had for a while, but Apple does a good job here. I have many friends and family that just don't speak English, so it's great to have an instant and relatively accurate, at least in my experience, translation in things like my messages. This feature works within FaceTime as well, and it gives you a live translation caption when conversing with someone in a different language.
Hola, Sarita, ¿cómo estás? Aquí estoy en el garaje. Está lloviendo bien feo, pero bueno, así es, ¿no? Bueno, espero que estés bien. Ya me voy a dormir. Buenas noches y que descanses bien, ¿ya? Chao, ya nos vemos.
This is such a great feature to have and a nice touch from Apple. And we finally get a similar feature to a main reason why I love all of my Pixel devices, call screening.
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
Hi, this is Sean. I'm looking to talk to Sarita.
Thanks, Sean. Please stay on the line.
And Apple added Hold Assist as well, which works just like Google's Hold for Me, that allows you to continue on with your life while you're on hold with something like long wait times for customer service, and then your phone lets you know when the agent answers. It really is a game changer, but I was already using it on my Pixel devices, but I'm glad Apple added it. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is Apple's visual intelligence, which works as expected and gives me an actual reason to use that camera button, which I barely use. All in all, I would consider iOS 26 a massive upgrade, but some might consider it a little chaotic and cluttery compared to old iOS versions. So, Is the iPhone 17 Pro Max worth it? If you're coming from an iPhone 14 Pro Max or older, I would say absolutely yes, just go buy it already. If you have an iPhone 15 or 16 Pro Max, I would personally hold off unless you have some extra cash to splurge. I think there is a lot to love, but it's still expensive, and the last 2 generations of the Pro Max models still work terrifically well in 2025. I still use my 15 Pro Max and notice zero differences in user experience when using Apple's latest flagship. Overall, you're getting an insane battery life, some really cool new features on the camera, a brighter display, better thermals when gaming, and this incredible new cosmic orange color, which I absolutely love. So if those things are important to you, just go buy it already. If this video helped you, please hit that like button down below and subscribe for more if you like what I do, and also hit that new height feature down below to help this video get to new viewers, and I will see all of you next time.